how do we support ethical, reliable use of the data sets and the implementations of those models?
I'll break the question down into two parts, right? What Joy just said in terms of the data collection part. And again, you go back to the therapeutic areas. Oncology is a very complex sort of market. We constantly are thinking about where are the data providers, because again, pharma outsources the data collection process quite a bit, especially the sales and marketing area. So which data providers are coming up that can supply us, the oncologies and the immunology types of data sets. And then in terms of, the ethics and compliance part of it, I think that essentially I would say, restricts the machine learning algorithm development part of it. I mean, obviously, we have to be compliant. One key example there is you have the sales teams that are going and knocking on doors of hospitals and doctors. You also have the medical affairs teams that are talking to the doctors as well. So compliantly, how can we share the information between the sales teams and the medical affairs teams? Because the medical affairs teams have a lot of depth in these areas as well. So those are the kind of things sort of we think about in terms of compliance. There's obviously the Sunshine Act, Transparency Act in the US that has had a lot of rigor, especially in the last 20 years. So for example, if you're taking a doctor out for a lunch or a dinner, you can't spend more than $50. All of those things sort of come into play when we're thinking about collecting data and making sure that we are compliant, and then eventually running our machine learning algorithms a well-compliant way to make that happen.
I think that question could have a panel on its own, pointing out two main aspects. One is that the way LLMs are currently trained, it reinforces inherent biases. And that is a problem for if you're not on the patient population where the model was trained. There needs to be some regulation, a new risk model that's employed when using AI for patient treatment and in clinical trials. I think a colleague of mine told me about this one clinical trial where they trained an LLM on all the states on the circumference of the United States and then tested it on states in the center of the United States, where we know that the patient population, the insurance coverage, political affiliation are all pretty much polar opposites. So how are we going to use AI ethically and make sure that the insights that are being generated are appropriate for a heterogeneous population? Second, and what I kind of forgot about, right now all of our data is based on administrative claims and electronic medical health records, for the most part. We have a lot of biology data and chemistry data, and that's generated from academic institutions. But with Dendreon, such a complex cell therapy, that the information that is garnered by just the patient administration probably has a ton of value to it. And that's not being shared. That's your company paid a lot of money for that product, and you're not incentivized to share it with anyone, only use it internally. So hopefully you're using it internally, but the power of AI and the requirements of data, heterogeneous data, to generate generalizable models to everybody is going to require a new data sharing type of ecosystem. The claims data sets are fit for purpose for another purpose, and we use it as secondary data for our purpose. There is tons of data inherent in clinical trials, in patient administration, in electronic health records for individual systems, but really it's not being shared. And until there's a chance, an opportunity, an ecosystem where all those data assets can be shared, while companies maintain their proprietary advantage, we're not going to see the full power of what these technologically advanced and sophisticated models can offer healthcare.